Coworkers are like adult assholes, okay? Everyone's got one. And you know what? A lot of the time, they're a little more dirty than you'd like to think. Funny thing about work is you meet all these people you would never interact with in any other setting. And it's a gamble. Sometimes they're cool, sometimes they suck. I'm sure most of you out there can relate to the thought of just wanting this one certain coworker just gone, or just leave the company. Please leave my plane of existence. I don't need you. For the most part, most of the people you meet at work are completely inoffensive, alright? They are neither really cool nor really bad. They're right in that middle plane of existence. That's how it should be to maintain a level of couth. You don't want to get too emotionally tied up to these people. That's how bitter drama starts, or love affairs. I wanted to talk about some things that make you a bad coworker. Now, this particular person, he gets an honorable mention in this episode because he's the entire reason why I'm doing this in the first place. Jordan, if you're watching this, you were one of the worst, man. You started out so good, but you were one of the worst. So, yeah, this guy's name was Jordan. I'm not going to say his last name because that's doxing, but that's his first name. Jordan had hair like that businessman from Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't know his name. I'll put a picture up. And he had a pretty bulky frame, all right. But he always wore this hoodie. It was like a Hello Kitty NASCAR hoodie. Something about men in their 30s wearing Hello Kitty paraphernalia is quite unsettling, okay? I think they might be into the younger crowd. That's very inflammatory to say, but I'm going to keep that in there. Is what earned Jordan the pleasure of featuring in this video? Well, Jordan, he liked to sing, all right? So I work at this rest stop, right? And for the most part, it's pretty relaxed. We don't do much. We kind of just sit around. And Jordan, I guess to pass the time, he took up singing. I guess he was a passionate singer, and he was like, what better place to practice than work? Now, I wouldn't have a problem with his singing if he didn't decide to do it in front of me, right in front of me, as loud as he could. I remember it started off innocent. I didn't want to give him too much crap for it. I didn't want to be the guy who suppresses the creative mind, all right, because I always end up resenting them and making an example of them later on. And it's not like he had a whole lot of range either. He would pretty much sing like this the entire time, except I killed that, and he sucked at singing. And he would do this for hours at a time. And like I said, it started off with me trying to put up with it, but I eventually got sick of it. There was this one point where he was like singing right in front of me, like staring at himself in the glass on the doorway. And I was like, yo, Jordan, can you take it to the bathroom? And he had the nerve to get an attitude with me. He was like, but you said it was all right. I was like, yeah, if you're in the bathroom where I can't hear you, it's all right. Another thing this man did was he bummed cigarettes constantly. Every single time I had a shift with him, he would bum a minimum of 3 cigarettes off me. And the thing about it is he wouldn't even smoke the whole cigarette. He would chop the cigarette in half and smoke the bottom end. So instead of preserving the one cigarette throughout the entire day, like any person who gave a shit would, he would just smoke that half and then come back later and ask me for more. Another thing he used to do that would bother me was he would drink beer on the job. And this guy seemed clinically insane, so I don't want to be stuck alone with an alcoholic on my shift. Is that not understandable? And by far, the creepiest thing he would do is whenever I would leave, I would catch him walking over to my stuff and looking around. And I don't know if he was just searching for cigarettes or what, but that's like a huge invasion of privacy. Okay, don't stifle through my belongings, you cretin. Anyways, he ended up quitting. And then he tried to get his job back, and they were like, no, please don't come back. We do not want you. Jordan, you got served. So now let's get to the list of things that I actually think qualify you as a bad coworker. And on the top of this list, without a doubt, politics. Please do not try and talk to me about politics. Politics are an incredibly deep, intricate system that takes more than a scroll through on Facebook or looking at a couple of articles to understand. Chances are what you think you know about politics is completely wrong and completely biased. If you try to argue with them, maybe disagree with their political opinion at all, they don't go for it. They're not willing to change their opinion. I think that's because their opinion isn't actually their opinion, it's just something they are saying to fill dead air. But yeah, most people, I don't think, know enough. I don't even think most people should be allowed to vote, actually. Not unless you're extensively researched in the field, okay? I know I'm not. I'm not researched in it. I know my coworkers certainly aren't. You can just tell by who they are that they do not know what they're talking about. So please quit trying to bring up politics at work. Another thing I can't stand is when they will try to talk to you when you clearly don't want to be talked to. All right, we've all got that person in the workplace that just doesn't understand social cues. If I'm looking at my phone or watching a video and you're trying to carry on a conversation with me, maybe get the hint. All right, I do not want to talk right now. And that is not to say you shouldn't be friendly. You should always try and be cordial with your coworkers, right? Because you're stuck there with them. You don't want to create enemies. And a lot of them are actually good people, if a little misled. We're all a little misled. But there comes a certain point where you have to have a level of self-awareness and realize, hey, this person is probably not in the talking mood. Maybe I should go find someone else. I don't know if that's something for you all, but yeah, please have some self-awareness. On the note of friendliness, I think another point I should bring up is you should not be that asshole who doesn't talk to anyone and thinks he's so superior and that the fact that he or her is at this job is a slight to their being. Realize that you are in the same position as everyone else there. You're not better than them. If you don't like the job, go find a new one. But while you're there, you should at least try to be cordial, bare minimum with your coworkers. Don't walk around trying to act mysterious, trying to act cool, trying to act better than, you know. Work should probably be the most humbling aspect of your life because that's pretty much the lump sum of your career at that point, okay? So just try and go in there without an ego. Don't walk around like you're hot shit because you still got to pay up to daddy when tax time comes. So you aren't anybody. And stop thinking you are.